Welcome to the Embrace the Face podcast, where we celebrate all things weird and wonderful. I'm Allie Anderson, your host, here to bring you high vibe content and interviews for your highest good in self-healing and ascension. May these episodes bring you all you need in each now, and I thank you for listening, as always. Beautiful souls, welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face, where today I am bringing you the highest vibes of, I just feel so excited to have Dr. Sabrina Gya on with me. Hi, Dr. Sabrina, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Dr. Sabrina Gya and I met at the Boss Babes Who Brunch Long Island, one of the amazing events that Jess Maloney put together. So if you're local in Long Island and you're an entrepreneur and you're a boss babe, please do sign up, speak to Jess, and you can access all the amazing things to be an abundant entrepreneur. So I went to the last event, and it was the Glen Cove Mansion. It was beautiful. Dr. spoke, and she spoke to my soul, and we were just talking just prior to recording. We're very like-minded in our work. We do a lot of the same quantum nervous system recovery work. We're both into longevity. I'm obsessed with the blue zones. That is her life's work. So she's here to share her story, her amazing story of how she got to where she is. I personally work with her, and I can attest to her amazing abilities. Dr. Sabrina Gya is a longevity physician and the founder of Joyful Life Functional Health Solutions, a precision longevity practice dedicated to helping purpose-driven high achievers extend their health span, protect their vitality, and create a lasting legacy. For more than 25 years, Dr. Gya has helped thousands of individuals improve their health and well-being across the United Kingdom and the United States. Drawing on her expertise in longevity, functional health, nervous system optimization, and human transformation, she helps clients uncover hidden barriers to vitality and create personalized strategies for sustainable energy, resilience, and healthy aging. Dr. Gya believes that health is not the destination, it is the foundation that allows people to live fully, pursue their calling, contribute meaningfully, and create a lasting impact on future generations. Through Joyful Life, her mission is to empower people to optimize their health, energy, and longevity so they can thrive in every season of life where joy meets health. And I think that that's just so beautiful. And as a nurse of 18 years, who never learned in nursing school or in the Western medicine world in all the years I worked in corporate until towards the end, that energy is everything, emotion is everything, and still I knew nothing about hormones and all these things, and women's health, and I'm in a new era of my life, and you have helped to just guide me in so many multidimensional ways. And every time I eat, and I've always been like this, and I talk about this on my blog and podcast, that food is always medicine to me. I've always strived to live an Ayurvedic lifestyle, and have just made it so much more magical for me and fun and motivating. So thank you for being here. The stage is yours to share your story.
Okay, wow, thank you. I love that you are enjoying your food and seeing it differently and seeing food as medicine and the energetics of food as well, which is it's a whole nother conversation, or maybe it isn't. Maybe we'll end up talking about it a little bit here. So gosh, my story, I mean, I could take hours. I think each of us, every single person could take hours to tell their story. So, yeah, my story actually started when I was 9 years old, so very young. I was in England, so I'm from the UK originally, and I moved to the US in 2007. So I was raised there. So I was 9 years old, and I was watching TV with my dad. I was watching the news, but it was on mute. And this is where it's a God thing. This is definitely God's calling over my life, because on the news and everything was silent. All I saw was a man standing next to another man who was lying face down on a table, on a treatment table. And I turned around, and I kid you not, Alison, if you asked me where it came from, I couldn't tell you. So that's why I say it has to be a God thing. I turned around to my dad and I said, "That's what I'm going to be doing. What is that?" And he said, "That's a chiropractor. And no, you will never do that, because that's not on the National Health Service in the UK." And so I just then forgot about the whole thing because I was 9, I still didn't know
So
really what
cute.
that word
Your
meant. I
soul
know
remembered. Your soul remembered. Yeah.
my soul remembered. And then, yeah, at 16 in England, you have to choose what they call your options, which are all the different subjects you're going to take. And you kind of have to know, or at the time, I mean, now we're talking like 35 years ago now, I'm really aging myself. You have to kind of know what you want to do at 16. And I went around all the different places for work experience, and then I didn't actually apply for anything. You have to give, I think it was 10 options, 10 universities that you're supposed to actually apply to, and I just couldn't do it. And the only thing I could apply to that I felt a yes towards was chiropractic, and I still didn't really truly know what it was. And there you go. I ended up doing chiropractic, becoming a chiropractor. I was a doctor at 23, so very young doctor. I looked like a baby. Everyone thought I was still a baby and would ask things like, "Are you still studying?" And then over the years, the way that I worked very much changed and evolved. And if we're talking energy, I think from a very I had that kind of connection. I would sit in the back of the car, actually with my eyes closed, and I would spend, my mom would be driving and I'd be saying, I see yellow now, I see green now, I'd see all these different things. And she thought I was just looking out the window and she'd be going, oh yes, darling, that's so nice. But I wasn't. I was seeing all sorts of things. And then yeah, I then in my chiropractic career, I mean that's been a 26-year long career, beautiful career. I saw thousands of people, both, in different continents, had multiple practices going. And yeah, I mostly used techniques that shifted the tone of the nervous system and worked through the energy in the system as well. So looking at the energetics of the nervous system as well as all the actual neurology, etc. And then over the years, I mean, oh gosh, over the last 26 years, I shifted over and incorporated longevity health or functional medicine, now longevity health, which is a little bit more specific now, so into my practice. And so now, as you know, I have a virtual practice, and I still actually practice chiropractic and work with the energetics with people's systems. A, a few Saturdays a month I still have a little mini practice in Smithtown, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like, just even, I'm talking about energy a lot because I know that that's a lot of what this podcast is about. Even when I read through lab work now, yes, I see the black and white numbers, but I really do connect. And it's pretty amazing. Even when I was looking at x-rays, at spinal scans, it doesn't matter whether it's a black and white thing on a piece of paper or a person in front of me, I can see through the entire thing. I can see what the person's journey, where they've been, where they are now, where they could possibly be. And it's exciting every single time because every single person is completely different, and you just see the layers of what someone has gone through.
That's so beautiful. You see it holistically. You see
Yeah.
them more than just the physical structure, the anatomy, and that's how it should be. And thank you for sharing that. You also did homeopathy for a little bit, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I taught bioenergetic sciences and physiology and the biochemistry, those types of subjects at the Salisbury Homeopathic College in the UK. And so I learnt a lot. I still very much gravitate towards homeopathy. It's one of my first ports of calls, and for, I would say, 20 years of my life, I only used chiropractic and homeopathy and really good food. But then the food quality over here in the US is so bad that, then I had to start supplementing and doing all these things. So, yeah, just as the world has changed. But yeah, homeopathy is a beautiful passion of mine.
Do you really feel like the food quality in the UK is really that much better than in the States? Even if you ate healthy, like even if you
Yeah.
did eat fast food and things like that, would you say that the quality is still better?
Well, I don't know about now because I've been here for so long. I can definitely tell you that when I first moved here, which was 2007, 100% quality in the UK was definitely better because I remember coming over here and I was eating a very similar diet and I put on a lot of weight the first few months and didn't know what was going on. And and I had to really start doing my homework, like what is going on over here in New York compared with where I'm from. And yeah, it was absolutely food quality.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you. So, a few things
Yeah.
you said that I want to go back to. One, you have a beautiful gift. You have the ability to just, like, you're clairvoyant, you're clairsentient, you're claircognizant. You see, you feel, you know. It's just, I feel that when I'm in session with you also. So, you see the big picture. And that's why I love learning. I love working with you. I already feel better, and we haven't even been working together, I think, for maybe a little over 2 months. And like
Yes.
significant shifts, body, mind, and soul. And that's what it is all about. And that really is holistic work and integrative functional medicine. And I was just talking about this. I did a recording in yesterday, and a group of us were talking about how when you are desperate in the Western world, and you live in the States, it is okay to segue to what is alternative, to what is
Yes.
unconventional. And I think a lot of it, and I could do a whole podcast episode on this, has to do with like religious programming and what is
Mm.
acceptable and what's not. But it's also, remembering who you are and remembering why we're here. And you said the whole, you close your eyes and you see colors. I vividly remember closing my eyes every single night, and I used to get so excited to go to sleep, and because I would be able to close my eyes, or any time of day I could do it, but I could see shapes and like almost
Mm.
like sacred geometry, and almost I was astral traveling clearly, like, or just having some kind of connection to source. And we lose that over time. We lose that in our subconscious programming by the age of 7, or even now earlier. We have our moral values in place, right? And then everything that happens, every life experience, every, I say, trauma and drama that happens, kind of drowns us out and gets us out of the head and into the heart. And I think my point is that when people are open, when they're not so drowned out by what they've been programmed to receive, that like these modalities are taboo or too woo woo,
Mm.
that they help heal lives. And I've now had over 100 podcast episodes, and a majority of them have guests. A good chunk of them have guests who have done these alternative types of therapies that you offer. And I think it's just so amazing and so needed. And the fact that you specialize in longevity, now I think we're going to segue into ones. So what, and you also said how everybody, when, looking like a baby, you still look like a baby. The fact that you've been in business as a country, and you've been in business already 20 something years, like there's something to longevity, to like
Mhm.
biohacking, really getting into that genetic level cellular healing, that you
Mhm.
younger.
Yeah.
People say like you don't age. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, gosh, thank you so much. Well, I'm just going to backtrack a tiny bit because it's funny because we were talking about religion, you're talking about religious programming. I'm actually Christian and my faith helps me, so and I hope it's okay to go this way a tiny bit in this podcast. So for me, actually, before I was saved, I was still doing all of this work, and actually since I came to be saved, my work got enhanced. The gifts of healing actually increased. And so, for me, I always want to be careful about the source of what is coming through me or from me or around me and make sure that it's as pure as can possibly be, which is where I get very, very faithful to God. I literally I have a morning routine which ties into the longevity thing as well, the longevity topic, where I have a morning routine. So I get up every day and I go to the gym for 5 a.m. I'm not telling everyone to do this. This is like years and years of me working on my health. And then I come back and I'm in a really beautiful state and I read my Bible, I reflect, and then I literally sit there, pen in hand, journal open, praying, and then waiting for God's word. And He does give me his messages of over my life, over patience, over whatever is needed pretty much every single day. And so for me, it's so funny because I used to feel like that with programming. But again, I think it depends on the person because in biblically, and this goes with all faiths, there are so many beautiful spiritual gifts. There's the gift of wisdom, gift of knowledge, gift of healing, gift of prophecy. There's all these different things that you actually receive. The more you tune in with, I would say, God, everyone calls God a different thing. For me, it's Jesus, or for me, it's God. So Holy Spirit comes through, and does the healing. I don't do the healing. God does the healing, and I just stand there and I try and keep myself, my body, my being as clear as I can, which is hard because we're all human, so that I can be a good instrument and be as faithful as I can to serving whoever is in front of me. That's what I believe my job is, and it ties into everything.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just about this, and it's so I do theology Thursdays, and I'm
wow.
very people look at me and they don't think that I have a connection to Jesus, but I have a very big
Yeah.
connection to Jesus and Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and St. Thomas Aquinas. And your practice is beautiful. And it is something that I pretty much do as well. Like you have to sit in silence. You have to sit
Yes.
gym at
Must.
5 a.m., but I do wake up. And I read the book years ago, because I do strive to wake up at 5 a.m., but everything else I've accomplished. Where if you've never read the 5 a.m. Club, it's a
Robin Sharma. Yes.
story because it's about a woman who literally wanted to commit suicide, and then she went to this event and she randomly synchronistically met a man who then introduced her about the 5 a.m. wake up, and not even just the 5 a.m. wake up obviously, but just the idea of like a spiritual practice, a
Mm,
ritual, you as a clear channel.
yeah.
And when I first started like my journey in blogging and doing it, I used to have this video called Ground Connect Protect, and it was just
Mm,
ground yourself into Mother Earth, connect to God, Source,
mm,
Spirit, whoever you connect with, and you are the vessel. We are the vessel.
mm,
I'm just the vessel. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the channel, and I'm here to do God's work, and it's always in God's light. And
yeah.
thank you for pointing that out because a lot of people think also that this work can be of the destructional energies, the destructive
Mm,
vibrational energies, but this truly is through God's work. This is so clearly for you also soul led. You are
mm,
tapping in, you are a clear channel through God, Jesus, whomever your higher power is, and you are receiving the messages and the guidance of what you need to do today,
yeah.
what you need to do
Yeah.
in this now, what you need to do to be of service to humanity to help raise the core vibrational frequency.
Mm, yeah. a
Because
hundred percent.
you knew at 9 years old and you might have, diverted out a little bit, but you knew and you stuck to that. And I think that's so
Yeah.
cool. Even though your dad said no, I think cool. I love that so much. Okay, so the blue zones. I probably learned about the blue zones probably about a decade ago, maybe. Like, and I have functions like people come over and I have blue zone like catering essentially. Like I put together little dishes and people are like, "What
Mm,
is this?" And I'm like, "Well, it's gonna help you live to 100." And like I'll text people and be like, "Get ready to live to 100." Like it's happening.
wow. Oh my
So
goodness, that's
yeah, so
incredible.
let's talk. Oh, all the time. And then I have people who, mainstream society does not eat the way that I do. So when
Yeah.
I go to parties or I go to gatherings, I'm bringing meals and people love it. And then I get calls and they're like, can you make that dish again? Or can you send me that recipe? And it's like blue zones, like just look it up. Blue, and there's
Yeah.
so, and even you don't even have to look at the blue zones to just understand the idea behind it's like ancient Mediterranean and
Mm,
just the different pillars of nutrition and community and having a purpose in life and
yeah.
movement and just I remember the video. Everyone talks about the video on Netflix, but if you really deep dive into the Netflix like series past that, and you really deep dive into what the blue zones are, Dan Buettner, the founder, he literally travels and researches all of these locations. And it has influenced my life so much to just hear these centenarians talk about all these things. And it makes me so excited because I never thought, and I don't expect to live to be 100, but it just makes me excited to know that like I have that knowledge, that I have that ability to control that part of my life.
It's so beautiful. Gosh, I mean, one thing I would definitely say is expect to live to 100 because it changes things. Like so for me, I'm always thinking about the eternal life, but then in the physical I'm going, okay, let me expect. I'm still working on this is like an actual conversation in my house because I'm actually going to turn 50 in a few months, and and I'm saying things to my kids like, the whole I mean, anyone that gets to that age, not everyone, but a lot of us start to think about things differently. And I'm thinking about things and I'm going, oh my goodness, what if I've only got, the what if I've only got this many years, all those things. And I'm still a work in progress like everybody else is. I would say, Alison, let's expect to live very long lives and shift our perspective and our perception because, what you focus on grows, what you put out, you will receive. So there's that part. And then, yeah, with the blue zones, I love how it's so simple, but and yet it isn't.
Yeah.
In the culture that we live in, it's so simple and yet it isn't because you have to really put your focused attention on movement and community and being out in nature and having a hobby and that's not work only. And I think community is a big one. you know Longevity, when we're talking about longevity health, there are specific biomarkers that we're looking at. But then if we trace everything back, if we backtrack, so yes, I like all the biohacking stuff, but the best actual hack is to live in accordance with nature and to live in accordance with God's true design. Like God designed us for being in community with people, having relationships. Not we're not designed for social media, although we're using it so much. We're not designed for artificial light. These are all amazing technological developments that we now have. However, the world's going so fast now, and our body is designed to work with the circadian rhythm, to work with sunlight in the morning and moonlight in the night, and actually running with those cycles and rhythms. And just as everything is in nature, everything is cyclical with us as well. So, the planet has seasons. The planet has a 1 year cycle. We have a daily cycle. We have a, a monthly cycle which goes with the moon. We have a seasonal cycle, and we have an annual cycle. Then there are decades, etc. So everything in your physiology works in that same way. Even cell tissue, cell regeneration, cell repair, all of that, hormones, your gut, everything works in cycles. And that's something we need to observe, when we're talking about blue zones as well. If you think about it, they're very cyclical and they're very rich in habits and rhythms. And I love that.
Me too. I think it's so cool, and I don't know why my soul is drawn to it. I just think that it's something that I will never stop talking about. I will
Yeah.
never stop trying. And there's no expected outcome, right? And I mean, I'm going to be 40, and I kind of have been feeling the same things. Like my husband keeps reminding us, like we're halfway there, and I'm like, yeah, but I still like in my soul, in my heart, I feel like I'm still a kid. I still like to have fun. My physical body now, I definitely need to work on that, and it's recognizing. So community, you said
Mhm.
connection, that was something that I lacked for many years. When I first left corporate healthcare in 21, I was only working part-time at that point and barely working. So when I walked away from work, I was very isolated.
Mm.
Even though had been, a pandemic isolated many people, I was working during the pandemic, but when I walked away, it was like I was miserable on the couch in bed. I had no connection. I couldn't even cook my own meals. And my husband, who wanted to help me, like, no, I don't eat the same as my family. So he's like, how can I cook for you? How can I help you? But once I really like started doing the work and feeling better and really getting to where I am now, it all really like I talk about this all the time with people, and some people get it, some people don't. If you are somebody who spent so much time or an era in your life, a period of your life where you were isolated, whether it was
Mhm.
body or mind, or like you just were going through a really dark period, and you get this opportunity to live again. Like you said, you
Mhm.
wake up in the morning and it's like, how much can I get out of life today?
Mhm. Yeah.
What can I accomplish today? And that is forcing yourself in the beginning to make plans with people, to not bail on them, to show up, to get back into, for me, to get back into the garden. The minute I started feeling better, and I still can't do it all. Like my husband has to help me, but hands in the dirt, bare
Mhm.
feet in grass, outside 20 minutes a day, minimally, like it does the body so good.
Yeah.
And between that, nutrition, water, minerals, supplements, deep diving into lab work that is like blowing my mind, and all these like modern tests that explain so much, like it really is a holistic approach to learning. I think when we shut ourselves down and we don't connect ourselves with others, that's a sign. I feel like that's a sign for our body, like coming up, like it's okay. Like we're here for you. People like you,
Mhm.
like we're here for society to help
Mhm.
people live their best lives, because I think that's really what it's all about. Whether you get to live to 100 or not, it's being able to wake up in the morning and not dread another day. It's being able to wake up and say, how much fun can I have today?
I love that. I love that. And actually, that's why my practice is called Joyful Life, because it is based on that. I came to realize over all the years of working with people and personal things that I went through that joy has to be at the center, and again, this all came in prayer for me because I was praying about what should I call this practice? What should I do? And again, biblically, there are the different fruit of the spirit, and joy is one of them. And actually, I did pray on that, and God's word was the practice is going to be focused around joy. And when you are healthy, it is a lot more, it's a lot easier to feel joyful, and I think the two go hand in hand. And something I really love that you said is waking up and actually saying how can I get the best out of life today, and how can I bring and you're really talking about an elevate very much, and you're having a very elevated conversation with yourself where you're going to make the most out of every single ounce of the day, whether something really, quote unquote bad happens, like someone passes away or someone's ill, there's still going to be wisdom in that. It might not feel happy. I think there are different levels of joy. I know this might sound odd, but even when you're feeling down, it can be joyful in the way that wisdom is being learned, lessons are being learned, and there's a spiritual growth and evolution happening throughout your entire journey. So the downs, that's the joy of the down. The joy of the down is actually grabbing all the pearls of wisdom, and then knowing that, okay, once you get through something, going, okay, I've got another chance. I've got a new day today, or I mean, your new day can start right now. You go, okay, it's a new day right now. Between now and tomorrow, 24 hours from now, it's a new day right now. You don't have to wait till the next morning, which I love. You can start
You
again
know who told
anytime.
me that once? You know who said that to me once? And I was shocked. I had a really good GI. Unfortunately, my Western medicine GIs were always really good, but they like rotated. They just probably burnt out. They'd come in, be
Yeah.
burnt out, and leave. And I had a GI tell me that I was going through a really hard time. I've talked to you about like my sugar binges, and like I'm so hard on myself and I'm mad at myself because I quit
Yeah.
drinking in 2021, and you don't realize when you quit drinking alcohol how much you crave that sugar.
Sure. Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember he said to me, I was like crying in his office. I was also in my luteal phase. So I was like hysterical crying. I'm never gonna fix my gastroparesis. I'm just gonna live like this forever. I'm gonna look 6 months pregnant forever. And he's like, Allison, he's like, you don't have to like wait to start a new day, a new week, a new Monday. Like every moment is an opportunity to heal. And
Mm,
I was like, you're so right. Like I'm sitting here in my pity party, my low frequency, right? My shame, the lowest
yeah,
frequency on the Hawkins scale that you can get. And something like that can just bring you right back up into the
yeah,
joy, the frequency of joy, which is just below enlightenment, if I'm correct.
yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah, it's a journey. It's a lifelong journey.
100%, 100%. And, often people will have traumas growing up, and they'll sometimes say, I think I'm over it now, because they've gone to therapy or counseling or whatever they've done. But there is no over it. It's part of your, but there is growth all the way through. And I truly believe that those situations that we have in our lives are designed in order to just help us become who we're meant to be. And again, this is what I do now all day, every day. I'm hearing about people's stories and about their journeys. And then the chronic stress in the physiology is sometimes the thing that brings us down. But the spiritual evolution has happened. We just need to correct and help restore what needs to be restored so that the person can live their full life, having all this wisdom, and now with an energized, elevated, joyful state of like, okay, you've accomplished all of this. You've gone through this trauma with your dad. You've gone through this trauma with the ex-husband or the whatever it is. You've gone through all these different things. You've also become a mom or a dad or a parent, and you've also become a business owner or done all these different things professionally. That's the foundation that you stand on and be proud of. And we get the healing from the inside. So these are, often it's high achievers, high performers that go down the most, because they have this drive there. We're always in the gap of where you are versus where you want to be, and you're craving and grieving where you want to be. You haven't got there yet, and you'll never get there, because there'll always be a next of where you want to be. So we need to actually appreciate where we are now and actually stand on that foundation of, wow, you've been through all of this. And then for me, it's my job to go, okay, in your body, this is what's happening now. Let's work on that. And you'll see that people get uplifted and even more can be accomplished. And when you wake up and you have that feeling or that thought of, how much joy can I bring to this day, or how much joy can I, what is the juice I am going to squeeze out of this juicy day right in front of me? It becomes way juicier. Like the life becomes way juicier.
Like
Yeah.
a game, it's a game, and so many things you said. So even backtracking to living with the cycles, that's a big part of my life.
Mm,
I even have my 2026 astrological planner, and I think I have it like right here. And anybody, simple little things, like simple little things you can do each day. Your gratitude, your emotions, your daily priority self care,
right.
your dream notes. Everything is a lesson, and that is what I.
Mm,
So when you write down things about your day, like, okay, what am I grateful for? It keeps you in check.
yeah.
Even when the thing, like you said, a death or a divorce or a fight or financial issues or whatever it might be, there's always a lesson to be learned. And one thing that keeps coming through intuitively, so I don't know if we've talked about this also. I'm a psychic medium, I do readings, and something that keeps coming through is the Our Father.
Mm,
And I keep hearing, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
yeah.
And it's like keeping that straight. And as I was a Eucharistic minister, I am a Eucharistic minister, and it's like the idea of Christ consciousness, being
Mm,
heart centered, being faithful to whatever your higher power is, to literally surrender and
mm,
just trust that this is the path for you, because we are ever evolving souls. You're not going to be the same version last year. You're not going to be the same version you were. If you quantum leap, you might not even recognize yourself from a week ago or a month ago.
yeah.
And
Yes.
so many things that you said that I like. I sit and go back into my recording and re-listen everything, like the idea. Oh, you had said, people having these 3D experiences of all these issues that we discussed that we identify with. A lot of people
Mm.
identify as my health problems and what I was going through. And when in quantum healing, and Dolores Cannon, QHHT, so she, which is the past life regression, and she has been said, you have to be a clear channel. So another thing that reminds me, you said, and nutrition, she describes that when we eat clean, when we don't eat heavy things such as red meat or things that weigh us down, processed foods, dyes, artificial preservatives, things like that, all synthetic things that are being put in our food. When you eat clean of the earth, you can't help but to be a pristine, crystalline channel. And I just remember like that also, like you're lighter, you're brighter, and you have that much more room to evolve and grow and have messages come through for you that can help to guide you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that what would I wish? I would wish for every single human being to realize they're a spiritual being, and that what you put in, your thoughts can be toxins. So it's not just food. Your thoughts can actually create toxicity and stress in the system. And then yeah, food is medicine. Each food carries a different energetic vibration, and we want to make sure that we're eating as clean and as clear as we can. And not everybody's the same either. Every single body is different, and so there are some general rules to what is clean, what isn't clean. But then once you get into it and you start to really get a very good deep connection with yourself, you then start to you start to feel and know and have this awareness of myself or my body or my cells. For me, it's my cells didn't like that, or my cells do like this, or my cells shouldn't like this if it's in something a bit on the naughtier side. So yeah, absolutely, we have to stay as clean and clear, and neurologically too, where this is where my chiropractic background and my longevity background come together. The nervous system, like chiropractic principle is called ADIO, above, down, inside out. When we get the spine and the nervous system clear without interference, the above down connection is actually the knowing that we will connect to our creator, or to the energy from above down, will actually bring it through. Oh
So in
yeah,
chiropractic, they teach that.
yeah, that's what we do. That's actually one of the found, and then the inside out is life is illuminated from the inside out with innate intelligence. Innate intelligence is inborn intelligence, and that's what we as chiropractors work with, which is freeing innate. And innate actually translates through life. This is chiropractic principle. This is actual true chiropractic, is this. So for instance, C1, which is the top segment of the spine, we call it the mouth of God in our profession. Like if we're, and there are different types of chiropractors. I'm what you would call a principled chiropractor, which means I go with the original principles of chiropractic. That's how I practice. So I'm going, okay, what's the mouth of God doing? If you're talking about receiving as an instrument, we want to keep all of this open, and then neurologically, physiologically, the brain actually turns into the brain stem. So it's brainstem function at occiput C1, C2, which is the very top of the neck. That has to be working, and then every single nerve in that, through spinal nerve, actually supplies a different organ system of the body too. So we have to make sure that the neurology is connected as well. So everything's connected to everything. So for me, having someone be a very, very strong, clear and clean instrument, that person has to be getting adjusted, has to be clear throughout their nervous system. Innate needs to be moving, intelligence needs to be moving. That animates every single cell, tissue, organ. Emotion starts shifting, brain is different as well, everything's different. And you put in the good nutrients and you take the toxins out. So deficiencies and toxicities, what do we need to take out that's a toxicity? What do we need that's a deficiency? And, none of us are starting from scratch. We're starting at you being close to 40, me being close to 50, etc. We're starting from where we are. So we always have to have a period that's more intensive of healing what's already happened. And then we keep ourselves clear and clean, and we're constantly like my aim is to constantly keep people doing that. And then we add in what you're talking about with the blue zones. We put in community, connection, movement, sunlight, etc. Having a clean food going in, clean water going in, minerals, electrolytes. We wear things like this, which is actually blocks all EMF.
What is it, copper?
It's
What do you
yeah,
have on?
it's actually no, there's little I'll show you. I'll show you on our next call, but no, it's got little balls. It's actually a quantum Leela technology, which I'll send you
I'd
the
like
link
I
to
have
it.
one too. Thank
It's
you.
amazing. It's amazing. And you can feel yourself shifting as well when you wear this. Plus, it blocks all of that junk from irradiating your cells. So there's so many. I mean, I could go on about this for hours because,
Yeah,
this
no,
is my
you're a
life.
beautiful speaker. You're a beautiful speaker. And actually, like, that's really, like, you just so eloquently speak and you speak in layman's terms so everyone can understand. And I love that. And thank you for that enlightening information. So I'm going to be totally honest. Okay. My grandfather was a physical therapist. He's deceased, and he helped develop like electrophysiology. He helped start the Toro School physical therapy out on the island. He has textbooks in like every language. He, if
Wow.
you were alive,
Amazing.
if you were alive, he'd be rolling in his grave that I'm working with a chiropractor, physical therapist, and chiropractor. However, he wore quantum patches. He was all
Mm,
about and energy and the brain and things like
mhm.
that. So it's very interesting because he never talked. All I ever knew about chiropractors was I knew that a lot of chiropractors were like on the holistic side, and a lot have segued into functional medicine. And I think that it's a great thing. I never judged it. I don't know. I just knew like, oh, you don't see a chiropractor for basic reasons. I have in the past, didn't have great experiences, but I just think that that's awesome that like there's so many things. I wish my grandpa were here to hear that, to be like, see, grandpa, it's not, it's all good. Like, it's okay. We don't, thank you for that.
It's so funny.
I have pictures of him like in the 80s and 90s wearing like these quantum patches. So I would
Mm,
love to
wow.
wear. I've worn a few like over the years. I've tried out different things, but I would love to wear that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, thank you. I'm trying to think, do you have any other words of wisdom for anybody trying to follow their heart in just like figuring? I love that this segued into theology. And so,
Mm,
in using faith, body, mind, soul,
mm,
longevity, in all one nutshell, what would
yeah.
be your words of wisdom?
I think actually it's what we said earlier. I think that it's important to know that in every single moment you can start again. And then, having a clear plan is a good idea. It's not guessing, not guessing. Always I always believe that we should test, not guess. And then we should always have a clear plan, whether that's you personally creating a plan for yourself or seeing someone like me or someone like you that can help along that way. I think clarity is king. And it's a must, if you want to make any headway in life, I think knowing that you can start again at any second, any moment, and having clarity changes everything. Set a vision and set the tone of your life and then go for it, follow it. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Trust it. Trust it. And give yourself
Mm,
grace, right? Like
yes.
we're so hard on ourselves, especially as women. We're so hard on ourselves. That could be a whole
Yeah.
nother podcast episode.
That is another whole podcast.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm
My
so
pleasure.
grateful. Yeah, so if anybody wants to work with Dr. Gaia, I will share all her information and tag you in social media. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Peace out and God bless.